Hyrule. It's a place of peace and war. It's a complicated place at most. Hyrule is divided in 8 geographical regions. Necluda, Faron, Gerudo, Hebra, Central Hyrule, Lanayru, Eldin, and the Akkala region. All these regions are part of the same land, but they're all different in their own way. In this documentary series, I'll be joined by Mayday374. He'll be covering the geography, vegetation, and wildlife of these regions. And I'll be covering every region's history, lore, and inhabitants. In this episode, we'll be covering the Necluda region. It's one of the most developed and populated regions of Hyrule. There are many historic landmarks and interesting things you can find in this region. Many people don't know a lot about the geography. That's why Mayday374 will discuss about it.
Okay, so about the geography. Necluda is basically an enclosed space between mountain ranges and sea. We'll be tackling the dueling peaks first, and then we'll be traveling east along the way. Alright, dueling peaks are 2 mountains that were once whole, according to theories and myths, but it is unknown of how the mountain got split. You can stay at the dueling peaks stable for the night and enjoy the beautiful landscape of Ash Swamp more to the east, or go on horseback to Kakariko Bridge, leading to the famous Sheikah village, Kakariko Village. But we'll go southeast from here, follow the path to Fort Hateno, which October will be talking about later, to go to the south in the majestic cliffs of Quince, where you can find a lake, Okul's Navel. Going straight east to Okul's Navel, you'll find Hateno Tower, Marblewood Plain, Lake Jar, and Milda Woods. North of Lake Jar is a place left unnamed where you shoot targets to get a Korok seed, but there are lots of monsters there, so be careful. Continuing east, following the path separating Milda Woods from Ginner Woods, a bigger version of Milda Woods, you'll find Hateno Village, the village that's prospered for so many years before and after the Great Calamity, with the Hateno Ancient Tech Lab having new discoveries every day. Traveling southeast from the Tech Lab, you'll find Ebon Mountain, a place that is known for Heartbreak and Mourn. Leading south, passing the rocky Loshlo Harbor, you'll find Mount Dunzel, the peak of Dunzel Plateau. East from there is Cape Kales, the peak of Mount Dunzel. Cape Kales is the separation point of Necluda and Faron. From east of Cape Kales is Eventide Island, a mysterious island located in the middle of the Necludian Sea. It is known for having a great treasure hidden in its rich soil. So this region's geography has been covered, but we'll go back to Fort Hateno for the history of what happened there. October.
Fort Hateno. It's the landmark where a miracle happened. 100 years ago, hundreds of guardians entered the West Necluda from the dueling peaks. All of the knights were exhausted from their long journey, evacuating the remainder of the Hylians who survived the attack on that fateful day. Prior to the guardians' arrival at Ash Swamp, the remainder of the knights had journeyed across Hyrule, finding surviving Hylians and guiding them to Hateno Village. Once they got to the fort, those who could not fight went to the village, and those who could even hold a bow would stay back with the knights at the fort. They were most likely expecting a lot of guardians, but not to this extent. They were overwhelmed by the guardians and monsters, and they were outnumbered too. All hope seemed lost, but they kept on fighting. Many of the knights must have noticed that guardians are deadly close range and long range. The only thing that could weaken them was a lucky shot to the eye. The swordsmen were out in the field, getting pummeled by the guardians and brutally attacked by the monsters. But little did they know, coming from the dwelling peaks was the hero with the sword that seals the darkness, and the princess with the blood of the goddess. The hero had to forge his way through, slaughtering guardian after guardian, only to Ash Swamp, where he was exhausted and almost too weak to stand. In the meanwhile, the knights were holding back the guardians from climbing the wall. They were about to lose, but the hero had fallen, which triggered the princess's power. When they were about to lose, they saw a big blast of sacred light coming towards them. They all saw the guardians falling one by one, until those who were climbing the wall fell. Most of the knights perished during that battle due to guardian blasts and monsters, but those who did survive were relieved. Some may have perished from their injuries due to the attacks or burning. Not many knights survived the siege of Fort Hateno, but I am glad that it's history. Now let's take a look at this region's wildlife. There's a lot more than you think in this region, so let's take a look at it.
Firstly, for vegetation and whatnot, you'll find apples, palm trees, hardy durians, Hylian shrooms, iron shrooms, silent shrooms, hardy radishes, swift carrots, and 45 pumpkins, only in Kakariko Village. Mighty thistles, blue nightshades, and silent princesses. Secondly, for wildlife in the Necluda region, you might encounter white goats, Hateno cows, highland sheep, beautiful rainbow sparrows, seagulls on the coastline, cuckoos, Hyrule bass, hardy bass, Staminoka bass, armored carps, Sankey carp, mighty porgy, armored porgy, those sneaky river snails, hardy blue shell snails, razor claw crabs, iron shell crabs, restless crickets, bladed rhino beetles, energetic rhino beetles, sunset fireflies, hightail lizards, and hardier lizards. The Necluda is pretty rich in variety of, let's say, vegetation and wildlife, so you'll find a bunch of food and good stuff over there.
Misko is presumably the greatest bandit that Hyrule has ever seen. He was so good at what he did, people remember him as the Great Bandit. Misko is speculated to have served the royal family before stealing 8 priceless Hyrulean artifacts. It seems to be as if everything was a game to Misko, because after stealing and hiding the artifacts, he wrote many riddles in his journal, and if solved, they revealed the locations of the stolen items. To this day, Misko is still a mystery among the people of Hyrule, but 2 people in particular are determined to find his treasure. They are Domidak and Pryson. They're twins located at the Dwelling Peak stable. If you go there, you can find Domidak trying to solve one of Misko's riddles. But in the end, Misko is probably long gone, but after what he is able to do, I think he's worthy of the title, the Great Bandit. Now, the Necluda region has been covered. Next time on A Journey Through Hyrule, we'll explore the Faron region, probably the most complex region in all of Hyrule. And I thank you for watching through episode 1 of A Journey Through Hyrule. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was worth your time. See you next time. October out.